Congratulations and welcome to the Bike Friday family. You have joined a special group of cyclists and travelers from around the world. This is the Green Gear community. Your Bike Friday is your membership card and gives you access to all sorts of benefits, including travel support, 24-hour technical assistance, membership in our internet community, bicycle and travel specials, and of course, the thousands of friendly members the world over. At Green Gear Cycling, we offer solutions for your travel needs. We have designed bikes and accessories for you to open a world of possibilities, to go anywhere you want to go. Your Custom Bike Friday is being created for you right now. In preparation for its arrival, we've sent you this video to show you how easy it is to use your Bike Friday. In this video, you will learn how to assemble your new Bike Friday and use the accessories you ordered. We'll show you some folding and maintenance tips, and of course, how to repack your Bike Friday again. And we'll introduce some Green Gear community features. If you have any questions about assembling and using Bike Friday, please call us. Our technical staff is always available to assist you. Just call 1-800-777-0258, or outside the United States, please call the U.S. country code and 541-687-0487. You can even call outside of our regular business hours to have your questions answered, or to have emergency parts sent to you anywhere in the world. We'd love to hear from you.
You've just received your bicycle in its suitcase, and it's time to unpack it. This series includes any of our folding series bikes or pocket bikes. This bike shows all the possible combinations of racks and trailer, and it's quite a full suitcase. So we'll get started. To start off, start by unpacking all the pieces one by one. If you want, you can take notes because your bicycle may be a little different than this bike. In fact, most likely it is, since most of our bikes are sold as custom machines. Your instructions actually shows your bicycle and how it was delivered the first time. If you see things out on a trip, the passenger relative. I'll actually unrack each piece as we come to it. This is a front rack, an Easy Pack front rack. A Gavin Donahue folding rear rack, trailer wheel, stacker, front wheel, second trailer wheel, handlebar stem, You may or may not have opted to purchase pedals, but they are included in the video to show you how they're packed. It's important to note that the pedals need to be wrapped quite securely, as they're rather sharp and heavy and small enough that if they got loose in the suitcase, they can easily damage a paint job. So we try to keep them quite well covered. Handlebars, for now we're going to let them hang outside the suitcase. The extra instructions and reflectors, extra spokes, all come packed in a plastic bag. Here's your tool bag. Inside you'll find a pair of gloves if you want to keep your hands really clean. A 4mm Bondhouse driver, which is very useful for turning bottle boss screws. It actually has a round end. A headset pedal wrench, also very useful if you have a 3x9 or a dual drive rear hub. And a multi-tool that comes with a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8mm Allen wrench and a Phillips and flathead screwdriver. Water bottle, Saddle and seat post. Once again, you may or may not have opted to purchase a saddle, but the seat post will definitely be in there. Now we're ready to pull the whole bicycle out. Notice where the trailer is threaded through the frame. Remove the rest of the packaging. When unfolding the frame, this rear fork tip goes over the top of those fork tips and run it down with a quick release so it's tight. It doesn't need to be overly tight here. The weight of your body will actually keep that hinge closed. The quick release actually just helps it so if you pick the bike up, the seat doesn't fall forward. Also provided with your quick release is a fork spreader. Pop that out. You're going to need that. You're going to need the quick release next. Be sure the conical spring's small end faces towards the hub. Bring the front brake so the tire passes through the brake pads easily. And insert the front wheel. Lock down the quick release. If you don't understand how a quick release works, advance to how to use a quick release on the video or DVD that you're viewing.
Be very careful when tightening your quick release. The quick release is one of the best bicycle installations since the wheel, but your front wheel can fall out if you don't use it correctly. The lever operates a cam that holds the wheel in very securely. With the bicycle fork resting on the front hub, with the lever on the right side of the bike, turn the nut on the left side in slowly, all the while flipping the lever on the right side. Keep tightening the nut until you feel resistance on the lever. Stop tightening the nut when you can only move the lever halfway through the stroke, which is when the lever is in line with the hub. Then firmly close the lever so it faces the rear of the bike. Open and test close the lever again, checking for enough tension. If you do not understand any part of these quick release instructions, stop and call us or any bike shop for more information. Do not ride any bicycle until you understand how to use a quick release properly.
If you have a kickstand, it's very useful for the assembly at this point. Once you've got the front wheel on, the rest of the pieces are easier. So the next piece is the stem. For more information on the stem, check the contents on your DVD or video. Now the handlebars. The left bar is always the one with the liner. The liner in it, that's where it goes. There's also a 5 and 6 millimeter Allen wrench attached to your bottle cage. It's got a 5 on this end and a 6 on this end. It's very useful for assembly because most of the bolts are either going to be a 5 or a 6. Tighten down the stem. Be sure it's very snug and make sure that when you test the bars they don't rotate. Next, hook the brake back up again. Releasing a V-brake and re-hooking up a V-brake for packing or reassembly. To release a V-brake, hold the calipers together with your hands and withdraw the noodle. If the V-brake is too tight and your hands are not strong enough, Bike Friday sets the brakes up with a small gap at the top here so that you can relax the cable. Turn in the cable adjuster as far as it will go, and that will relax the cable enough so that when you push them together, pull the noodle out, you'll be able to release the yoke. Now you can take your wheel in and out with relative ease. Rehooking up the V-brake for riding, follow the opposite. Push the calipers together and reattach. The common problem with reattaching on the brakes is that a cable can get hung up like this where the cable is not actually into its ferrule. It can actually get hung up on the edge. So if you're finding that the cable is too tight, look for these junctions that may actually have not fully seated. That can occur there. It can also occur here where the cable actually will run up on the edge. Make sure all those pieces are seated. Calipers together. Bring up the yoke and make sure the nipple actually protrudes all the way through the yoke. Give the brake a good squeeze to make sure that the calipers are centering well. If you've loosened the cable here, be sure to turn it back out to where it was before you did the adjustment. You just like to make sure it's centering out well. If it's a little loose, you can tighten it with a barrel adjuster. Next, we're going to install the saddle and the seat post. And then the pedals. When you're getting ready to install a set of pedals, first determine which is the right one and the left one. Most pedals, such as these, will actually have an R or an L stamped somewhere on the end or the face of one of the flats. And these days, most left-hand pedals will have knurling on the outsides of the pedals. You can see the knurling here, and on this one it's smooth. This is the right and this is the left. The right-hand pedal has right-hand threads, so when you install it, you would turn it clockwise. The left-hand pedal has left-hand threads, and you would install it counterclockwise. Notice I'm turning it counterclockwise. A little trick you can do when you're installing pedals is if you hold onto the flats and turn the cranks backwards, it snugs it right up on very quickly. The right-hand pedal, remember, you turn it on clockwise, and you can do the same thing. You can hold onto the pedal, that, with a wrench, turn the crank itself, and on they go. If the pedal doesn't start easily and quickly, be sure that you have the correct pedal and the correct crank. You can easily mess up the crank threads by starting a pedal that was on the wrong side. The bike should be ready to ride now, and before you go out and try it, make sure that all the bolts are tight again, and all the quick releases are done properly. Make sure the brakes are working, and you're ready to try it.
To assemble your Bike Friday trailer, open your empty suitcase and stand it on its end. Remove the trailer parts from the yellow bags. And over the T-bar. Remove the thumb nuts and one washer from each axle. Hang the axle onto the suitcase by inserting the two studs through the two matching holes in the suitcase. Be sure to leave one between the case and the trailer frame. Inside the case, add a washer and a thumb nut loosely. Pull the trailer tongue from its yellow bag and remove the thumb nut and one washer. Install the tongue onto the end of the T-bar and slip the stud through the remaining hole in the case. Install the washer and nut to the inside of the case. Tighten all the nuts securely. Close the case and set it on its side. From the trailer axle, remove the clevis pin, the washer, and the O-ring. Slide a trailer wheel onto the axle. Be certain you have the side with the recessed bearing towards the suitcase. The outside of the trailer wheel and bearing should be flush. After the trailer wheel, install the O-ring, then the washer, and lastly, the clevis pin. We recommend pushing the clevis pin all the way through to the end ring on the axle. Repeat on the other side. Your trailer is now ready to follow you anywhere.
We're going to disassemble a flat-barred pocket bike, and we'll start with the pedals first. Remember, the left-hand pedals have left-hand threads and the right-hand pedals have right-hand threads. As I disassemble, I try to package everything up ready to be packed into the suitcase. That way I don't lose anything. Next, the saddle. Next, disconnect the brake. And then take out the handlebars. Let them hang just for the moment. Remove the stem. The stem goes into the red bag. And then remove the wheel. As you're removing the wheel, go ahead and take the whole quick release out. And then install the fork width retainer around the quick release. And install into the fork. Put the rest of the packaging back on the bicycle. Okay, and then fold the frame up. We'll put the bike into the suitcase. Careful not to drag the bar on the ground. Notice that the fork turns where the brakes are in between the wheel and the fork. The left crank is pointing to the bottom of the suitcase. If you have a trailer, this is the time to insert the long tongue section. There. And now the rest of the trailer parts. The saddle goes under the wheel. The handlebars, which we need to wrap up again. Now pack the bars. And put the first trailer wheel in. For drop bars, the placement can be put right into the corners of the case. Put that over the top of the trailer wheel, or if there's no trailer wheel there. And then the front wheel goes right on top, right there. If you have extremely large tires, such as mountain bike tires, you may need to actually let a little bit of air out of this top tire to fit. I would happen to reseat the tire. Next, put the stem in. If you have a rear rack, it'd be a good time to install it now. Pack that in to the side of the case. Okay. For the Easy Pack front rack, pop like that. And then all the other small items that you may be carrying, there's lots of small little places that you can put things, like bottles and pedals and tools. Before you close the case, install a crush protector. Take one of the flanges, lift the bike up slightly, and slide it to the bottom of the case where you can see it all the way through. And poke the other end through the wheel. Be sure you have no sharp edges protruding above the top of the crush protector. You can shut the case. Do left fold Bike Friday, and I'm going to show you how to fold it. To set the bike up to fold, shift into the smallest cog in the rear. You can probably do that while you're riding. If you have multiple chain rings in the front, shift to the smallest chain ring in the front. Put the left crank horizontal and facing forward. Undo the stem collar right there at the top of the steer tube. Pop the stem out. Turn it at 90 degrees so that the pin doesn't fall down into the slot on the steer. Undo the quick release at the base of the seat mast and where the seat stays come up into the frame. Hold on to the seat post with your right hand, standing on the left side of the bike. Lift the bike up, give it a shake. The rear wheel will drop down, around, and come up next to the front wheel. Notice I've pulled the stem out at this point. Fold the seat forward. And put the handlebars up next to the bike like this. If you want, most of our bikes come with a strap, folding strap, that you can unwind. That allows you to strap the bicycle together. Run it through the rear wheel, around the handlebar, through the D-ring that's on the strap, and then back again on itself down to where the Velcro sticks together. And that'll hold the bike together if you want to carry it. For unfolding, the handlebars off, put the seat back, the handlebars all the way in, and down, and make sure that they're all the way is all the way down to the bottom. Some of your bikes may show a small amount of thread. That's normal as long as the collar is all the way down on top of the steer tube. Lock down the quick release, or if you have a bolt, tighten it down with an Allen wrench. Stand on the left side of the bike, lift the bike up, put the wheel back down. Now move the seat post forward a little bit and make sure that the rear set of fork pieces on the hinge slide over the pin, and then put the seat post over the top of that. You can then wind up your strap again. The bike's ready to ride. Okay, so here we go. Back. Careful not to drag the bar on the ground. Notice that the fork is turned where the brakes are in between the wheel and the fork. The left crank is pointing to the bottom of the suitcase. Okay. If you have a trailer, it's good. This is the time to insert the long tongue section. Now the rest of the trailer parts. The saddle goes under the wheel. The handlebars, which we need to wrap up again. Now pack the bars. And put the first trailer wheel in. And then the front wheel goes right on top, right there. If you have extremely large tires, such as mountain bike tires, you may need to actually let a little bit of air out of this top tire to get everything to fit. I wouldn't recommend letting all of the air out though, that way you can avoid having to reseat. Then the second trailer wheel. Next, put the stem in. If you have a rack, a rear rack, it'd be a good time to install that now. Pack that in to the side of the case. For the Easy Pack front rack, and then all the other small items that you may be carrying. There's lots of small little places that you can put things, like bottles and pedals and tools. Before you close the case, install the crush protector. Take one of the flanges, lift the bike up slightly, and slide it to the bottom of the case where you can see it all the way through. And poke the other end through the wheel. Okay, now stop for a second. Be sure you have no sharp edges protruding above the top of the crush protector. You can shut the case. To set the combination on your suitcase, open the latch. There's a small lever in the back. Move it up into this upper position. On the front then, set the number that you'd like to have. Go back to the back, put the number back in, and that's your new combination.